Like, I was able to sell my skill set, my talents, my personality. I changed the narrative and I controlled the conversation. I controlled what I wanted them to know about me. Hey guys, welcome to A Chosen CoverGirl, where we talk about living life full of joy, confidence, and faith, as well as everything in between. I'm your girl, Daniela, and today we are continuing the conversation about believing in yourself, having faith in you. When you have faith in yourself, you walk differently, you talk differently, you have confidence, and it shows, it exudes in your actions, it exudes in your words and how you talk. With such confidence and with such belief, you can open doors that man sometimes try to shut. And you can just make way for yourself and put yourself in opportunities and take advantage of opportunities that probably otherwise wouldn't have been presented, but for that level of confidence that you exuded, because you believed in yourself to be able to even go after what it is that you want. You believed in yourself to be able to even put yourself in the room for that opportunity. You believed in yourself to be able to just, say, why not me? Why not me? Like, if she can have it, if he can have it, if it can happen for them, then why can't it happen for me? I have this, or I have that. I can do this. I have, this particular skill set. Like, you know what you bring to the table, and you have that confidence that says, I want you to tell me no. I dare you to tell me no. Believe in yourself and do not require the validation of anybody else. Do not require anybody else to push you to say, go do this or go do that. Have faith that you can make things happen. Have faith that the door will open for you. Have faith in your skill set, your ability, your talents. Have faith in who you are, and then just watch as that faith in you make things happen. Listen, I got a story. So, I remember when I was applying, I don't think I told you guys this story. Did I tell you guys this story? No, I don't think I shared this one. I share so much. So, and if I did, you're getting it again. So, I remember I was applying for a leadership training position with my agency, and they were only accepting a certain amount of applications. So I applied. And it was like one of those long applications that had like multiple questions about your skills, questions about your talents, questions about your experience in certain areas and examples, for you to provide. So I did the application, and then when the time came, I was on a 4 or 5 person panel interview. I don't remember if it was, it was a 4-person panel interview. So I'm at the interview and they're asking me a bunch of questions, and I am literally bombing this interview because they weren't asking me the same questions that was on the application that I submitted. I'm thinking, they're going to ask me these same questions, maybe, change the examples or kind of like change it a little bit, but pretty much like, for the most part, it would be very similar. But no, they were asking me questions and wanted me to give them specific examples about how, I did this with my job, or I did this with my agency, or I did this in my position. Now, the thing about my particular position with my agency, it doesn't allow me to even be qualified to answer those questions because my responsibility was limited to this, to the legal aspect of, my workload, right? And so then, but they were asking me questions in regards to the agency that would have allowed me to do certain things that I wasn't able to do because, like I said, I was limited with my role. So I couldn't really answer those questions. And when I tell you I was bombing this interview, I was doing so poorly. I'm not even like, when you ain't doing well. There was this one particular person on the panel. She was like your auntie. Everybody needs one, like somebody like her. She was an older lady, and like one of those like, honey, okay, honey, like one of those type of ladies. But she didn't use those words in particular. She didn't say honey or, baby, but she was like your auntie. All right now, baby. All right, come. Oh, how about this, baby? So she was back there. So she was sitting there, and I would look towards her, and she would just like kind of like look at me like, okay, you're doing well. She was almost like my reassurance, like trying to help me out because she knew I was bombing it. This interview is concluding. And so they asked me, do you have any questions, right? So I did. And they always say that it's good to have a question at the end of an interview to make it seem like, you've done your research and just to make, to put you in a better light. I needed all the help I could get to put me in a better light. But that's not why I asked the question, because I was genuinely wanted to know. So I asked them, I said, I noticed that this interview panel, the questions that you asked me here were very different from the ones that you asked me on the application. And they were like, oh yeah. And so I was like, I was expecting more questions that were in line with what you asked on the application. So then they asked me, okay, well, all right, is there something that you wanted to tell us? Like what was it on the application? So I said, well, on the application, you gave me the opportunity to tell you a little bit about myself, to tell you a little bit of what I've been able to accomplish throughout the years. You gave me the opportunity to really highlight and show you, examples of these things. So they were like, okay, well, what do you want to tell us? When I tell you, I went in, they should not have asked me that question. What did I want to tell them? What did I want them to know? In that moment, I changed the narrative. In that moment, I told them about how I was able to take the little that I had and make it into a mountain. Like I was able to sell my skill set, my talents, my personality. I sat there, and by the time I was done, they were literally writing notes. They were literally engaged. I was no longer that person that was bombing that interview. I changed the narrative and I controlled the conversation. I controlled what I wanted them to know about me because I had faith in me. I knew about me and I knew what I brought to the table, and I needed them to know what I bring to the table aside from the questions that they were asking me. Yes, you can ask me these questions, but I'm gonna let you know what I do bring to the table, and you let me know if that fits in with your particular program or with someone that you feel would be a benefit to you. How about that? And at the end of that interview, one of them asked me, okay, if I were to ask your supervisor to give me one word to describe you, what would that be? And I said, he would say I'm amazing. And they looked at me and were like, well, okay, and wrote it down. And then that wrapped it up, and they just told me, thank you, that they were impressed with what I've done, thus far. If, I don't hear back from them, or if I don't make it into this particular program, just good luck with my future endeavors and all this other stuff. Now, I got back to the office and was having lunch with my girls, and they were like, okay, how did, the interview go? So I told them how I was doing. I was bombing this interview and, what's up. And I just pretty much gave them a rundown of how it went. And then I told them about the last question that was asked. What would my supervisor say? And they were like, okay, what'd you say? I said, he would say I'm amazing. Duh. So anyway, I said he would say I'm amazing. And when I tell you, they were like, girl, amazing, of all words to use. They're like, this is a professional interview. You should have used something like, you're hardworking, you're reliable, you're a team player, you're responsible, but you use amazing? I was like, yeah, I'm amazing. Do I need to tell you that I got into that program? I got that email, I got that call that said that we would like to invite you into this program. And I remember after I got it and I told my girls, I told y'all I'm amazing. I told you I'm amazing. When I tell you the level of faith, the level of confidence that I had when I was I guess I will say selling myself, but when I was presenting myself to these people and when I changed the narrative and wanted them to know what I wanted them to know, the level of confidence that I exuded open the door based on that piece of paper, based on the interview questions that they had for every single person. Based on those questions alone, I wasn't qualified. I wasn't qualified. But based on what I needed them to know, based on them now knowing more about me and what I brought to the table, I became qualified. And even if it wasn't the things that came out my mouth, but the audacity for me to tell them what it is that I needed them to know, the level of faith and the level of confidence that I had in myself and what I exuded in that moment during that interview process alone opened the door for me and granted me access into this program and granted me access into this leadership program that very few had the opportunity to partake in. And I say this to say, believe in you, even if no one else does. You have to believe in yourself and you have to control the narrative. You have to control how or what is said about you. You don't have to believe what people say about you, but you have to believe what you say about you. There's life and death in the power of the tongue, and the words that you use to describe yourself, the words that you use over your life, over your skill set, over your future, those words are powerful. Continue to believe in you. Continue to have faith in yourself, and doors will swing wide open for you. Trust the process, it shall. Guys, I love sharing my story. I love sharing my wins and my losses. I love sharing because, hey, like it can happen for me, it can happen for you. Trust the process. And guys, don't forget to press that like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. If you haven't subscribed already, what are you waiting on? Like, what are you waiting on? What's taking you so long? And if you haven't put on that notification button, like put that notification button on so you know when I drop a new video, because I am here and I need you to be here for it too. Oh, and don't forget to share.